You are now watching the Movie Juice Podcast.
The juice is loose.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Juice Podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm James.
Movie Juice! Movie Juice! Movie Juice! Juice the movie, man.
Oh, yeah.
Woof.
This week we watched Dogman.
Dogman!
Dogman.
That's why I woofed.
Dog Man.
I think that's also why you said man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say Dogman, but I didn't want to give it fully away, so
Yeah,
I
you-
changed it at the last second.
You had to wait until literally the next line of
Yeah.
dialogue for us to give it away.
What's crazy is like a couple weeks ago we did Wolfman and now we're doing Dog Man, and we were in the same theater to watch both.
Yeah, we were.
Well, we were. And it was a good time.
It was a good time.
Were we intend to watch Wolfman?
we
Yeah,
were.
we were on the same aisle, just on the other side of it.
Oh, I do
Yep.
not remember any of that. Any
Yeah.
of that.
Thank God nobody in this movie looked like a monkey.
Where the family next
I
to
was
us
making
sat
sure.
for this movie was where we sat for Wolfman.
Oh, I don't remember any of that, honestly. I really thought we were in one of those because
We
like
were,
most of the
further
time
to the
we're in
right.
those with the rail, you know, because
Yeah.
we're sitting near the rail most
Right,
of the
because
time.
we did that for the next movie we saw after that, which we're not doing a pod on, but still. Anyway, so Dogman was a pretty fun movie.
Yeah, would you guys recommend it?
I'd recommend going and seeing it if you have a youngin.
If you have a youngin,
Yeah,
for
if you,
sure.
If you got a
Yeah.
child.
but
for
as like an adult,
Yeah, I wouldn't pay like my money to go.
I wouldn't pay to go see
because
it.
it's not marketed for me.
Yeah,
But with our A list or if or whatever form of movie like pass you have where you can go multiple times,
Go for it.
it's not bad. You'll have a fun time.
yeah,
it was
it's
fun.
definitely not bad.
No.
I'm not gonna like shit on this movie by any means.
No, I came out enjoying it a lot more. Like because we were just gonna see it as like a joke. It's like, oh, it's not a joke, but like, oh, this looks fun, like a fun time. We can do a fun podcast episode on it. But then I came out of it like that's actually a really fun time.
Well, it's
I
kind of a
enjoyed it.
funny haha because we were like, oh, we're gonna do Wolfman, then we're gonna
And
do
Dogman.
Dogman.
Yeah.
But then,
and then-
yeah, it was pretty good.
Dogman ended up being better than Wolfman.
Yeah,
damn sure.
Surprisingly, I had a more fun time.
I do have one note about the Dogman's design though.
Yeah.
One.
Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get there. It's just a critique, though. I'm not gonna like start screaming and ranting about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you just do that because you wanted to contrast it to Wolfman, or
No, there was seriously just like one thing that I saw that irked me.
Okay, fair enough.
And it irked me the entire movie. I just didn't say anything
I
about
wonder if
it.
it's what I think it is. I'm curious to see. We'll get what we.
No, it wasn't the stitches.
Well, because that is funny because they do make a point to make fun of the stitches.
They make fun of the stitches.
But I wonder if it's what I'm thinking it is. But we'll wait till we get there.
Okay, yeah,
'Cause I'm
yeah,
curious
yeah.
if it's
We'll
the
get there
same
quick.
thing. Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
Cool. Hell yeah.
All right, so-
let's
You guys want to hop on? You guys want to go and step up to the juicer?
yeah, let's do it.
Heyo.
Let's start
A
juicing.
little. You know what I mean?
Noise.
Yeah, dude. All right. Universal.
Universal. Yep.
DreamWorks.
Universal DreamWorks.
Yeah.
DreamWorks has a new logo now. Apparently, I didn't know that. Dylan saw Wild Robot,
Yeah,
and he
that-
said that was the first one he saw, but I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to see because it was right after the hurricane, and I couldn't make it.
Yep. I didn't see the Wild Robot either.
That was the first time I noticed they had a new thing, but they kept the sound the same. It's
Yeah.
just, you know.
Did you guys write any notes about the short in the beginning?
I think he did. I just wrote that there was one.
Yeah.
I wrote.
'Cause I think the Bad Guys is like a different thing they made. I don't remember.
it's definitely another movie. I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
I've never
but-
seen it.
but it's like a short for them.
But
called
they
The Bad
did the
Guys.
Bad Guys short. I mean, it was kind of funny. It was basically just like I guess in the movie, like there are bad guys that get arrested at some point and start to try to turn their life around, and
Yeah.
it was them trying to get to their parole hearing,
Yep.
and that's all it really
And
was.
they go to the post office instead.
And they actually go to the post office. It was kind of funny.
It was
Like
fun.
it was all like random bullshit.
I
They
haven't-
stop a bank robbery.
I didn't know animated movies still did that.
Same.
I haven't seen a short on an animated.
Well, Disney
film in a
used to do it
long
all the time, and now Disney doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
All the shorts they make are usually just like shorts they just kind of put out.
The only thing I mentioned, I did write a note down because I thought it was funny whenever the piranha was trying to go to the bathroom and rip the door off, and there was a dude in there shitting, and he started screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
And then I thought it was funny that one just said chicken nuggies.
Yeah, when
It was a chicken truck.
it ended up in a chicken truck.
The
and it
snake was like chicken nuggies.
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun too.
But anyway, so then they show like the titles again, like they show Universal and DreamWorks again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that in the new DreamWorks thing, Shrek is in there now.
Yeah, they're
Which I
waving.
thought
They're
was
waving at the
fucking
guy
sweet.
fishing off the moon.
Because I mean that's kind of like the house that Shrek built. You know what I mean?
It really
I
is.
mean, really.
It's fitting. That's like the last character you see.
Shrek 5 is supposed to come out next year, I believe.
Word.
Well, fuck it. Let's get Shrek, dude.
Let's get Shrek.
Let's get that trending.
I really only think the only one I've like seen that I can remember is the first one.
Believe it or not, I have seen all of them.
And I've also seen
Not all in
of them.
theaters, but I have seen all of them.
I think
seen-
I've seen at least the first 3.
I saw the first 2, I think.
I've seen the
theater.
first 2 at home, watched the third one on DVD, and Brooke was working at the movie theater when the 4th one came out. We just watched it for shits and giggles.
Is Happily
yeah.
Ever After the one where they do the roar?
Yeah, there are.
Was that 3?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think-
so I have seen all of them. It's just been a very long time since I've seen any of them but the first one. Because I have rewatched the first one.
What's your
as an
favorite?
adult. The first one.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
I kind of like Shrek 2 more, if I'm being honest.
If any fucking movie ever has like a wrestling related scene, I fuck with it.
Fuck yeah.
And that comes back around later.
true.
In this episode.
Years ago, before I was a married man, I went down on a girl while Shrek was playing in the background. She complained about it.
She complained about
Yeah,
it?
she was like, "Why are you gonna do that while Shrek's in the background?" I was like,
Damn,
"Bro, why are
man.
you mad?"
Shrek got him horny, bro. Leave him
I
alone.
was like, "Shrek is an
man's
important
my-
classic film.
My man's be getting horny to Shrek, bro. If you can't handle that, maybe you just...
Shrek is love.
get
Shrek
over
is
it.
life."
All right, but then
Sure.
the movie starts, and there's a cop driving crazy style through the city. And there's like this
Yeah.
running gag this whole movie where nobody can fucking drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they can't park, they just crash and
Yep.
get out. It's really dumb. It's kind of funny though.
Me and G. Yeah, for real.
And then there was also a big hot dog, and I
Yeah.
shouted out the Glizzy Gobbler.
Yeah,
Make sure
'cause-
to mention that.
Hey, I also put main character and dog share a hot dog.
Yep, because it's called Frank's with a Z.
Yeah, with a Z. And then you also meet Petey the cat, and he's like
Petey, the
your-
world's most evilest cat.
He's the most, or he's like the antagonist of the film, I
Yeah.
guess.
And
He's
it's
played
funny,
by-
too, because he's played by
Pete Davidson.
And then
Crazy.
it's a dog and a canine in the car. They're eating glizzies.
Glizzy's.
And then they also run into a box of bees, and you think it's going to be actual bees, but it's like the letter B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty
I
funny.
thought that was something. And they do that a lot.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of O's, too.
Yeah, when they're howling, whoo!
And the dog was the siren for the cop car.
Yeah, that was
I
funny.
wanted to
And
mention
his name is
that.
Greg.
Yep, Greg the dog.
Greg the dog. What was the...
I think he's just called Cop.
Officer Knight.
Knight.
That's right. I write it down later. Okay,
Because
so...
the chief doesn't have a name either. He's just called Chief.
Chief.
The whole
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, and the
But-
mayor is also just called the mayor.
But
Yeah.
they're doing like a car chase, and the bridge is out, and the cat like rockets up it and gets away,
Yeah.
and then
They stop, and then Officer Knight is like, if anything happens to me, Greg, take care of my girlfriend.
yeah,
And then Greg does the same thing, but with his tennis ball. He's
Yeah.
like, he makes the same, take care of my tennis ball. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cute.
and then they hit the ramp and they start to like fall, but then they have a parachute that's big enough for their car,
Yep.
so they parachute down.
Onto the expendable warehouse.
The yes, the empty warehouse, or is it called the expendable
It
warehouse?
literally had a sign that said expendable warehouse.
Okay, yeah.
And then like they're able to, I think like their car, something happens to their car, and then it ends up falling and crushing the Chief's car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Chief's like, oh, what the heck, Officer Knight.
And then there's a bomb on the building.
Did you almost call him Dogman before he was?
Yeah, I did. That's why I was like, ah. Strike that.
There's a bomb on the building, and then you get cut to Petey's secret lab, which is like, it's funny because they act like they can't find him, but it literally says Petey's secret lab the entire time.
Yeah, because they bring that up a couple other times where he's like, oh, where can I go? He's like, oh, they'll never find me here. He turns on the lights and it just says PD's secret base.
And then they try to, they also try to like defuse the bomb, and they fuck it up, and they get blown up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he was like, it shows all the wires, and he was like, yeah, which wire does what? And then the dog growls, and he's like, oh, does that mean green?
And then he's like, oh wait, dogs are colorblind.
Our dog's
And
colorblind.
then they blow up.
And then blow up.
And then, the Petey's secret lab thing. And then this is whenever you cut to the hospital, and you find out that Knight, oh no, they're talking about him, because Knight is tough and Greg is smart. And if you combine them, you'd have like the perfect dog. That's
Perfect.
what they talk
Super
about.
cop.
Super cop.
And then there's also Sarah Hadoff outside the hospital,
Yeah.
who's a recurring character who basically just is a really weird news lady.
Yeah, I never wrote her name down. I just refer to her as the reporter.
Yeah, Sarah Hatoff.
Yeah.
That is her name.
Played by Isla Fisher.
He's
Is it Ela or is it Isla?
I think it's Isla. I've always thought it was
Yeah,
Isla.
I've always said
Yeah.
Isla, but
actually she didn't have to change her accent. She was just full on Australian.
But when she's out there at the hospital, she says this is serious because she's reporting in the rain without an
without
umbrella.
an umbrella, so you know that's how serious it is.
Yeah. And then you find out that Mr. Knight's head is no good, but the dog's body is also no good.
Right.
So one of the nurses or the doctors have an idea of sewing the dog's head onto the man's body.
Great idea.
Yeah, and then the other doctor says, "Great idea" and stuff. I was like, okay.
So
if this wasn't an animated film, that would kill both of them.
agreed.
Yes.
For sure.
But with the power of animation.
Movie magic, baby.
And then you find out they make Dogman, and he's like awesome and shit.
Dogman, and then we get title card.
Yeah, and then
And then turns out Dogman is a super cop because together their powers combined, like he said, he's a Dogman super cop.
but the chief is like kind of jealous of the dog man.
Yeah.
At first, because like Sarah Hadoff comes in there to talk to him,
He's like, oh, he did all this amazing stuff in one whole day.
and she keeps hitting him with the mic, and he tells her that he's in love with her, and he says it a few times.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm not just saying that because I'm in love with you. She's like, what? It's like nothing.
And you find out that Dogman like barks and saves people. He barks at the mailman, saves people. He pitched a no-hitter for kids. He played piano for the old all-in-one-day super cop. And then Chief like starts talking about his big story, and he talking about Flippy the fish. He caught a psychokinetic evil fish apparently, and he wants a story about himself to make his dead mom happy.
Yep.
And it's like, okay.
I get it. I would too, man. My dead mom deserves happiness.
And then after that, it talks about, it kind of cuts, I believe, and it shows Dogman going back to his old home.
It's a very sad. It's like a sad montage of him like in the house, seeing all the
Yeah.
memories. And it's like, oh,
And it's like been shut down,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I don't think it's been that long.
yeah,
Well,
no, been a whole day apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that surgery may have taken a while, but
That's
also when the chief is talking to Sarah, whenever it pans to his POV, the back of his nameplate on the desk says "You the boss."
You the boss.
You da boss.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, Dogman goes home and the doggy door's locked, but thankfully he has keys because he's also a man.
Yeah, but then it just turns out to be unlocked.
Yeah, and then the house is abandoned, and then,
Yeah.
and then like you said, the sad montage, just like him and Officer Knight and the girlfriend, which you never find out her name.
Yeah,
They're
she's
like
my
all them
girlfriend.
doing things, and then the realtor shows up, and you find out that the old girlfriend already has a new dog and,
Yeah.
a
And a new
man.
boyfriend. I'm like,
Yeah,
bro,
I was like, fuck that.
fuck
man.
her, man. Like,
What the hell?
So here's my problem.
what the hell?
Here's my problem with this movie. Why does Dogman have dog hands?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was wondering
okay.
that too.
Because the dog's body's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
And it's the cop's body, but he has dog hands the whole time.
That is weird.
Yep, I thought that was weird. And like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's a little kid's movie. But
Why?
why?
Continuity.
I noticed that too, but I also wasn't 100% sure at the time.
Yeah.
But then the longer the movie went on, I was like, bro, he does have dog hands.
Yeah, he totally has dog hands. That's like my only real beef with the design of Dogman.
Interesting.
Um,
Now, if they would have said the dog's head and hands
Yep.
were good, you know, the rest of the body's just bad, it'd be okay.
but then he finds his ball, and there's like a lady, like a realtor lady shows up, and she's like trying to get him to buy another house.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I got some other properties if you're interested.
She gives him a bunch of flyers, and then he gets her to throw the ball for him, and she runs out. He runs outside, and she locks him out of his house.
Yeah, that was so sad. I was like, oh.
Well, I was like, poor guy.
Yeah,
But then,
bro,
and then
take
Greg
a
falls
fucking
into the
break.
sewer, but he's able to get it back. Greg is also the name of the tennis ball. That's
Yeah.
what I call it in my notes.
Same, because like I know it's supposed to be just like his tennis ball and like it's got his name on it, but I also refer to it as Greg the tennis ball.
And then the receptionist lady from the police station
Shows
goes and
up.
picks him up. Her
Millie.
name's Millie. And
I never wrote her name down.
and then
I
she-
spelled it wrong apparently because like later on we see her name flash up on a screen. I'm like, oh, it's not IE, it's EY. Yeah.
I also spelled it wrong, man.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking about like how he feels bad, and then she goes on this whole spiel about a lottery ticket and some dude named Anthony. I guess that's her husband,
Yeah.
and it was kind of funny.
She does that too. She does that again later.
And then he starts looking at the flyers of like all the properties she gave him, and luckily for him, she's
Finds this
selling a
Snoop-
doghouse.
This Snoopy looking one.
Yeah.
Looks just like Snoopy's house.
Yep.
And then it cuts back to Petey, and he's in his secret lab.
Yep.
We do know the girlfriend's name,
Oh really?
Alice.
When does
Yeah.
it
Oh, I have it in my fucking notes. I'm a fucking idiot. It literally says "Take care of Alice." I'm stupid. man. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I missed
Thank-
that.
Thank you.
I also missed it, so...
It's crazy. I had a note of it and I totally forgot.
Yeah, you cut back to Petey's secret lab. He's mad about them making the super cop, and he starts talking to his like assistant about like what dogs hate, and he's also like firing her at the same time.
Yeah.
He's like, you're fired.
And he's talking about how dogs hate vacuums, so he's gonna make a big one. And she's like, "Yeah, well, they also hate firecrackers, and they're like $5 at the store."
But she's not
And then,
wrong. Maybe you
he's
shouldn't
like-
have fired her.
She's like
Yeah.
left, and he's like yelling at her from the window, and he slams the window down on his tail.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, ah.
And then it cuts back to the police station, and it's the
Talking to the
chief.
chief.
Chief and Dogman, and I put the chief also hates Dogman because he kind of does at this point.
Yeah.
Like he's very jealous of him. You can tell.
But then he kind of starts to break it down too because he gets sad. He's like, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Yeah, because like Dogman's licking on him, and he starts talking about the mayor
Yeah.
and how the mayor's always mean to him and yells at him, and the chief gets upset, and the Dogman does his best to make the chief feel better, and then he starts licking him again. So the chief's like, "Dude, fuck off! Stop licking me."
To be fair, if my employee started licking me, I'd probably be a little upset too.
I've never licked anyone in my life. Time for a montage to arrest Petey. And then he has nunchuck handcuffs. You know, he
Yeah, that's
uses
cool.
handcuffs like a nunchuck. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Like he catches him multiple times.
And then it shows him with the giant vacuum, and he
Yep.
leads him into the ocean to foil his evil plan. And then he saves him on a surfboard, though,
Yep.
because
And then he takes him straight to jail.
Yeah.
straight to cat jail. And Petey is mean to Big Jim.
Big Jim.
Big
Yep.
Jim.
He's like, hey, Petey. He's like, shout out, Big Jim.
And then they cut outside, and they're on the what are those called?
Seesaw.
Seesaw.
He's like, hey, Big Jim, you want to play on the seesaw? He's like, yeah. Then he gets launched back out of kitty jail.
Yeah, he says, "Sorry, I was mean, kinda." And then
Honestly, it's the jail. It's the cat jail's fault, bro.
Yeah.
Terrible design.
why do they have a jail just for cats whenever there are people there too? I don't understand. Like, why don't they just have a jail for bad things? What do I know though? I'm just some guy.
I'm just some guy that talks about movies.
And then he has a bone catapult, and Dogman digs a big hole to stop him, and he gets put back in cat jail, mean to Big Jim again.
But
And
then we get the other guy too, and he's like, respect.
oh yeah. So the way he escapes the second time is it's Big Jim's birthday.
Yeah, he's got balloons.
And he has balloons.
The warden gave him balloons.
And he gives one to another cat convict, and the cat says, "Respect."
respect.
And then Petey takes all the balloons and escapes that way.
Flies away. Yep.
And then he has the crate. He has a crate trap that he tries to use on Dogman, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Crate. Oh man, what was the pun?
Something 2000.
Yeah,
Everything is like something 2000.
2000
Yeah.
because he also uses the butt sniffer 2000.
Well, we can't see that one.
Yeah, we don't get to see that one. And then it's a montage of Dogman being adored. It's showing like all the different papers of him like doing stuff like winning medals and holding babies and shit. And then it cuts back to him with the chief, Dogman with the chief.
Yeah, the chief's he crumbles up a piece of paper and tries to throw it away.
Yeah, he starts playing. And then start playing fetch.
Yeah.
And then he tries to trick him, and he does. And then he ends up throwing the piece of paper again to like get rid of Dogman, but the mayor comes in,
Yep.
and he hits the mayor right in the face.
with the wad of paper.
Yeah.
And she's mad.
Oh,
Mad
yeah,
Max
she
for
big
real,
mad.
for real.
And she's mad about Petey, how he keeps escaping. And then I wrote, maybe it's the fucking jail's problem.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what the chief says. He's like, what, really? Because my brother runs it?
Yeah, she gets all offended, and it's like, yeah, your brother. She's like, are you saying my brother's bad at running the cat jail? And
Yes.
I put your brother is bad at running cat jail.
Because I literally put down, bro, Dogman is literally being thrown off the case for cracking the case.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
over and over again. But yeah, she takes him off the case, and they're like, "That's not fair." And she's like, "Here, call this number." And then it's this dude that says, "Life's not fair."
He literally just answers the phone to say life's not fair and hangs back up.
Which was pretty funny, eh?
It was
I
funny.
laughed pretty hard.
And then she starts finger fucking a donut, and she gets stuck in it for a second. And I thought that was weird. Like, I didn't really understand the point and all that, other than like, LOL, cops like
Same.
donuts.
But then she leaves all mad, and then Dogman and the chief like fight over it, and then
they fight over the donut.
Yeah,
And then he's like, "Yeah, I guess you are off the case."
sorry, buddy.
And he gives Dogman the
dog.
donut, but Dogman declines the donut
He's
and
all
leaves.
sad Dogman.
And then the chief like hounds down that fucking donut in one bite.
Because I put sad Dogman because like the walk to his house is crazy. Like he has to like go under a bridge, past the city.
Yeah.
Go through the park.
Yeah.
Y'all ever try to eat a donut in one bite?
No,
Me either.
I just don't think that's me.
Yeah, it's not me
I
either.
like donuts.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How'd it go for you?
Again.
Yeah? Did you get it all?
Yeah.
Really?
Respect.
Thought you had a small mouth.
They fucking smooth down.
They do crumble down. She's right. You know, they get wet. They disintegrate a little bit. Easy to. I'm doubling down. You know what? Never mind.
Next time we go to Krispy Kreme, bro, I'm gonna try and eat one of them.
Yeah, me too. But also, whenever the competitive eaters do the hot dogs, they'll dunk it in water so it softens the bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets to his doghouse and it opens up, and he's got like a 2-story doghouse.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then he immediately gets some mail, and it's like a newspaper that calls him a Supalooza.
Yeah, I thought that was sad. I was like, bro, fuck you.
And then he starts howling to what's the name of that song?
I don't know. It's a Hank Williams song.
Yeah.
I know that.
I'm so lonesome I could cry. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
basically.
he starts howling it, and then I was like, "Damn, that doghouse is sick."
It is
Or-
because it's like bigger on the inside.
It's got 2 stories, bro, in the kitchen. Like that's
Yeah.
not a normal doghouse. I ain't never been in a doghouse that nice. You know what I'm saying?
I've only ever been in a doghouse in general.
Yeah, but I peeked in one
No, but you've
before.
been in the doghouse, right?
Dude, I'm in the doghouse every day, bro.
Shit, I stay in the doghouse. But
I stay in there because I got that dog in me. You know
yes,
what I mean?
sir, bro. Not because you get in trouble.
I got that dog in me. Woo!
Oh. Anyway, he starts howling and he's sad. And he like walks by his picture of his old family and he howls at it. And I'm like, damn, R.I.P. dog man.
And then he goes to sleep all sad alone in his little bed.
But at least he still has his ball.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
great.
then it cuts to Petey being evil.
Honestly, that probably would be a hell of a life switch up, man. Considering you were two different you were a dog and you had a human, and now you're just both at the same time.
Yeah, he uses both at the same time. But he sneaks around, like Petey's like sneaking around. He uses the newspaper disguise, and he says, "They'll never find me here." And he's in his secret lab, and his assistant shows back up, and she gets her phone charger, and she's like, "Hey, you still owe me money?" And he's like, "I paid you." And she says, "Puka shells are not money." And then he's sitting there trying to think up ideas of like what to do next. And then he's like, "I need somebody who can like be just like me." And so he
goes to the internet.
he goes to the internet. Well, he has an idea. He's like, "I need to clone myself," and he has like a light bulb gag where he pretends like a light bulb goes off in his head. Thought that was kind of all right.
That was
And-
pretty funny.
Yeah, bro.
Little gag.
And then because he says he needs someone with a wretched soul like his, and then he goes to the computer and he finds a cloning machine,
After seeing a bunch of air fryers.
a bunch of air fryers.
He's like, air fryer, cloning machine!
And then it cuts back to Dogman, and he's sitting at his kitchen table eating breakfast, listening to "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
which I thought was funny.
Banger of a song.
Agreed.
And then the chief calls him with a job to get there quick, and then he's
They're
like,
like cuts to the chief talking, and then like next frame, Dogman's like jumping at him, and I was
Jumping at him.
like, how come he has to walk all the way home? We have to see that, but when he leaves home, he gets there instantly.
and it's
The
funny.
excitement.
Because while he's
yeah.
licking the chief's like, "Why do you always have to lick the inside of my mouth?"
Inside of my mouth.
And then
That would piss me off too.
Yeah, agreed.
he starts talking about how his job is like the science center over there. I can't remember. Super awesome science center over there.
Yeah.
Which is literally the name of the science center.
Yep.
Is going to study Flippy, the fish that it talks about earlier, the kinetic evil fish.
I never wrote the fish's name down. I just referred to him as Fish.
Yeah, his name's Flippy.
Because he goes on this whole rant on this like detective style yarn
Yeah.
cork board of like blah 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 this to that. Remember when he did this and he did that and he did that? And I was like, bro, this Flippy lore go crazy.
Yeah, it does, but he said it so fast that I didn't pick up.
Hey,
on
I did not
any
pick up
of
on
it.
anything. I just know it's an evil fish named Flippy.
It's an evil fish named Flippy. That is what I know. And he says, "Bad dog," cause fucking him up. I don't know what that means. That's a note that I took.
Oh, they rebuilt the Flippy with titanium bones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he starts attacking Flippy like the dead fish. That's why. Remember, and that's why they have to
Oh yeah,
rebuild it.
because one of the things in the lore was like, yeah, because remember you like to roll around with the fishes
Yeah,
on the floor, and then he starts doing it with the dead carcass of Flippy.
And then they rebuild him with the robot parts, and they study him, and then it cuts to the super awesome science center over there.
Yeah, because Dr. Man has to watch over while they do their shit with Flippy.
And they do a little presentation, and like she's like, "This is my nieces introducing us to it," and it's like
So
just
through a dance routine.
it's just like a little girl TikTok dance, and I was like, "Oh, okay." That's definitely a sign of the times.
Yeah.
And then you find out that Petey is out of ideas 2000. I don't know why I wrote that down here.
Because he's like, oh, I'm out of... Because he's like, oh, man, he's flipping through his notebook of like, we did that one, and then he gets to the end of the notebook. He's like, oh, there's no more notes left. I thought it was funny because on the back of the notebook it literally says no notes left.
Yeah.
That was funny. And then he's like, oh, man, I'm all out of ideas. 2000.
And then the presentation is over. Cuts back to that.
And then she's like, they're like talking about the hypothetical, like, oh, wouldn't that be a bad idea? She's like, well, not if you take him over the life gas building and drop him into the smokestack.
The living spray factory, and there's a smokestack, and then they definitely make sure to tell you multiple times that there's another pipe that is
To the
definitely
left,
not
not
a
the smokestack.
Yeah.
To the left, called not the smokestack.
Yep. And then you find out the Dogman is on thin ice now,
Yep.
so he has to start watching the monitors to make sure that nobody comes in and takes Flippy.
Yep.
Don't let the chew toy or treat distract you,
Look at the monitor.
or a squirrel. And he looks at the monitors. This is his last chance, and then Flippy gets stolen by Petey.
Yeah, 'cause
immediately.
Because like he keeps averting his attention to different monitors.
Yeah, because
Yep.
every time he's supposed to be looking at the monitors, Chief will say, "Don't look at this thing," and then he'll look at it, and
Yeah.
then Petey would sneak in through the cameras.
Like he was always just like this close to catching him, but never get him.
Yeah.
And for some reason I wrote, "Oh no." I don't know why I wrote that, but it's super. Oh, there's a button. There's a button on the console that
Oh,
says,
yeah.
"Oh no," and then it says you hit that whenever it gets super serious. So he hits the
He
button.
gets super serious, and then there's like a cool Dogman pose while he jumps out the door.
Yeah, and then
Because he does that a lot, where he'll just like be jumping and doing flips and like kick jumps.
Hell yeah.
Then he goes out, gets a hold of Sarah Hayes' hat off. I almost called her Sarah Hayes.
Her drone.
And then he takes a drone. Yeah, and he's like holding himself up on the drone.
Because her cameraman also is a Scottish guy. I can't remember his name.
Seamus.
Seamus. And like
Yep.
he's flying it at first, and it flies Dogman straight into a wall, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. And
He crashes into a pickle billboard.
Yeah.
yeah, I wrote they had a chase, but Dogman's dumbass gets distracted by Squirrel, then hits pickle sign. And then he hallucinates that the pickle sign is the chief. Then he's in there with the chief again, and the chief is like, dude, you fucked up. You messed everything up. And then it pans over to the Super Awesome Science Center over there, and
Yeah,
the little
'cause-
scientist lady's crying.
Yeah, because he said, you disappointed me, the mayor, and the scientists.
But Dogman has a chip from the drone to like show what happens.
So we can figure out who stole Flippy.
Yeah.
And then we flip back over to Petey the cat, who's working on Flippy.
And you find out that the evil is maxed out on Flippy.
Yep. So and then he's gonna change his programming to destroy all do-gooders.
Destroy all do-gooders. And then during that time, the cloning machine also shows up.
Yep. And he reads the instructions. He's like, oh, let me do this. And then he clones himself.
And then it cuts back. Well, it shows also them at the police station again because the chief's like talking about how he needs help. And Millie starts bitching about Anthony again in a boat, like and how he fell asleep on a boat and it became untied. I don't know. There's something about that. And there's this little gag, and then it's him cloning himself, and he has to do DNA, and then to get his clone, and then you find out that his clone is a baby version of himself.
It's fucking adorable.
It's so cute.
So
it's called
adorable.
Lil Petey. It's probably the best part of this movie is Lil
Agreed.
Petey.
And he has to wait 18 years for it to reach adulthood.
Yep. And then you find out that the undo button is sold separately. And then little Petey looks at him and goes, Papa? And he starts crying. And he goes, I want my money back. I want my life back. And I put me if I ever end up having a child.
So I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. Like step 2 was DNA. Step 1 was DNA. Step 2 was like press button or whatever. And then like step 3 was wait 18 years for your clone to mature. It's like wait 18 years? No. And then you find out you can reverse it with the undo button. So he goes and orders that on the internet as well.
And then it cuts back to the chief and Dogman, and he tells Dogman to go for the fish so that he can catch Petey. And I wrote the chief has cool glasses. I don't know. Did he? Oh, he put on sunglasses at one point.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
why I wrote that. And then it cuts back to Petey and little Petey, and the baby is destined to be a villain. And then he's like, "Is it fun?" And he says it's fun because you're surrounded by miserable suffering, loneliness, and zero appreciation.
Yeah, little Peter's like,
I'm miserable too.
I want to be miserable.
Well, no, you don't.
Yeah, he says, "I want to be miserable too," and I just put nobody don't.
Yeah, don't do that to yourself.
And then he's just talking to Petey. Big Petey is talking to little Petey. And every time he says anything to him, he says why, which is also
Why?
another running thing, which ends up coming back later and being a good thing that he won't shut the
Well,
fuck
so
up.
that's some dumbass shit. Stupid kids do.
That is something.
Why?
dumbass kids do.
Why?
But then the clone ends up going with him, and he tells him not to talk. And little Petey asks if he has a car seat. A kid's car seat, and he's like, "You're in a rocket ship. I don't think they make."
He's
Yeah.
It's like a flying bee attack car. Like I don't think they make car tickets for that.
And then this is whenever little Petey pulls out his book that he made for Big Petey,
Yeah.
and Big Petey just takes the book and throws it. And then he also needs a potty as soon as they get in the car.
he's like, just hold it.
Hold it. Yeah.
And then they go to the smokestack to throw Flippy in there, and the clone accidentally starts hitting buttons, and Flippy gets put into the wrong smokestack, the one that's not a smokestack.
Right.
Yeah.
And he
Because
just
like
kind of gets
flips over, he falls out, and then Flippy goes to the wrong hole, and then it gets like jammed in there.
Yep. And Flippy gets stuck, and the little kid goes, "I'm miserable."
I'm miserable.
And then he duct tapes him to the fucking car or whatever they're in, and he hits the button again, and then it cuts back to Dogman and the chief. This is whenever he's like, "Hey, you need my secret gear or my special gear to be able to find Petey." And this is
Yeah.
whenever they do the gag about like his fucking little bat cave under his desk.
Yeah. Like they go through
which
one.
leads to the other side of his desk.
Yeah, like one drawer goes down, they go down some stairs, they do this fucking vault, and then they come out the other side of the desk.
Yeah.
And then they just go back under the desk to get the binoculars.
And it's just like little shitty kid binoculars, and Dogman already has binoculars.
Like real binoculars. Because he's like, look through this side, small stuff becomes big. And then
Yeah.
Dogman's like, bro, I already have binoculars.
Yeah, like a full adult-sized binocular.
It's like, it's the funniest gag, dude.
That's like 90% of the comedy in this movie.
Yeah, but like
And,
it's just like a bunch of small bits that culminate
Yeah.
into like one big bit. But it's fucking
It is
hilarious.
funny. They do a
man.
good job with stuff like that. Like, it
Yeah.
was good. And then Petey decides that he doesn't want the clone anymore. And he tells them that they're going to go play the new home game.
yeah,
And
It
he,
reminded me of Robot. Like, you go one way.
Yeah.
With Jimmy Neutron, if you guys are familiar.
Yeah, he just flies him to the moon.
Yeah.
and he has a box that says free kitty on it, and a lady comes up to him,
So fucking
and
gag,
she's like,
dude.
"How much for the free kitty?"
He's
And-
like, it's free.
He said it's free, and she says,
all I have is $1.
"I only have $1."
He's like, he's like, fine, I guess then $1.
and she's like, "Can I have my change?"
And then he just gives the $1 back. To
Yeah.
her. And the cat starts talking, and she gets off because she like says something, and the cat
Insults her.
Lil Petey insults her, and she's like, "Oh, that's rude. Take your money back." And then he gets the $1 back. The $1 he didn't. It was because like it's the $1 that he got from her, but then he gets it back at the end, and then he still has the cat. So like now he has a cat and $1.
And then after that, Lil Petey's like, "I still got to go to the bathroom," so he kind of wanders off, and Petey just fucking leaves him. He's like, "All right."
Petey's like monologuing to himself, and then he's like, "Where'd you go?" And then he's like, "Oh wait, why do I care?"
Yep.
See you
And
later.
then he shows back up and he goes,
See you, chump.
"Papa," and he starts dragging his box, calling for him.
And I'm so sad, bro.
And I put, "Petey, you evil son of a bitch." And then
But Lil Petey's like, "Oh, it'll be okay." But then he drags his sleep box into the street.
yeah, dude.
Just lays down in the road.
Well, he says, "Don't be afraid" to the box, and it's like, damn, he's planning on killing himself. What the fuck?
Yeah, me too, Lil Petey.
And then Dogman's like watching all this, and
But then he also sees
Petey.
regular Petey flying away, and he's like, "Arr!" But then he's like, "I can't not save Lil Petey."
Yeah, he saves him coffee pot style.
Yeah, which is so like all he had to do was like jump down there and save him, but he like jumps to the coffee pot to like swing back around. And
It was cool though, man.
it was a cool little gag.
And then he sniffs him and he licks him, and then for some reason all the lights on the street turn out.
Yeah, so
Didn't
like
really understand that.
I think it's like just to show that they got to go home now.
Closing.
They got to go somewhere.
Closing time, maybe.
He takes him home with him, and he takes his little crate too, and he writes on his crate, instead of free kitty, he turns it to sleepy kitty.
Yeah, it was so cute.
Yeah.
And then Lil Petey's like, "Hey, Dogman, will you read me a story?"
And it's just like pictures of squirrels, and he just barks at them.
Barking at-
And then Lil Petey falls asleep to it. It was cute.
And then
Oh,
Dogman.
because he also ripped stuffing out of his bed to put into his
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
And then it pans to Petey, and he sees the little book that little Petey made him, and he just reads it and crumples it up. And I was like, damn, what a cock.
Yeah, I wrote, "Feel bad, Petey, you jerk." But then he crumbles up the book, and I was like, never mind.
Then it pans to breakfast time.
Yeah, and he feeds the cat dog food,
Yeah.
which I guess is fine. And then you find out that Lil Petey can play the piano, and so can Dogman.
Yeah, and then they have a little best friend montage.
Yeah.
I wrote, "Too bad they don't play Runaway." Because he'd gone there and gone, "Boom," I would have lost it in that theater, bro. But then it's a montage of them making a home together. They're playing and they're dancing. And then while they're out there, the old assistant of Petey,
Yep.
like his old henchwoman, I guess, takes a picture of them together, and they make a little home. And then it shows Petey drew a little picture of them together, and Dogman hangs
Puts
it up on the fridge.
It's cute.
And then right when he does that,
Chief calls him.
Chief calls him, "Why do you still have an answer machine?" Which I thought was funny,
Yeah.
because it's 2025. And
But also, like, you're the one leaving a message on it. Like,
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, no shit.
Kind of double negative.
And then he tells him not to forget what's important. And then he kind of looks at Lil Petey. Then it cuts back to the living spray factory.
Living spray factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The pressures are rising up.
the workers are like, something is clogging up the pipe that's not the smokestack.
Yeah. And then the guy reaches his hand in there, and he's like, "Ah!" He's like, "I'm just kidding."
I'm just kidding. Yeah, my arm's good. And then they find Flippy, and then the machine is good,
Yep.
and everything's all right.
So I know at
Oh.
one point the old assistant goes back to taunt Petey, like, "Oh, look, Dogman's been hanging out with Lil Petey," and then she's like, "You still owe me money," and she's like, "Bottle caps are not money." And in my
Right.
mind, I was like, "Well, bottle caps are money in Fallout."
And Fallout. This is whenever he makes the robot ADHD.
Yeah, which is like 80 HD.
Yeah, the number 80, high definition.
'Cause
80
high
hexagon-
definition. Yeah,
It's 80 hexagon droid 2000.
yeah.
And the off-on switch is, so it has an on-off switch, and it takes money to turn on. That's why
Yeah,
I looked at it.
it's like one of those things you can get like stickers and shit from at the grocery,
Like a
grocery
CC's
store.
pizza back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I think.
You got
about.
like 75, and I was like, why would like if you're the one who designed this, why? But hey, I mean, I guess even your designs need 75 cents. I don't know.
And this is where he decides that he wants Lil Petey back. I got confused because I started putting LP in my notes because I didn't want to keep writing Little Petey.
Sometimes I refer to him as Little Pete.
Hell yeah.
And then he has ADHD go and kidnap him. And while ADHD's doing it, he fixes... So he like sneaks his arm into the house and he fixes the picture on the wall.
Yeah.
Because ADHD's a nice guy.
He is.
He is. You find out later ADHD's an even nicer guy.
He's a pretty cool dude.
pretty cool dude.
Pretty cool.
RoboCat boiler. Not
Yeah.
really, but kinda.
What?
I don't know, man. They call him RoboCat later. So he kidnaps LP, and whenever he gets out there, he's like, "Oh, hi, Papa. What you doing?" And this is when you find out that it's ADHD. Like that's the name of the robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they start walking, and he's talking to him about how bad the world is, and talks about the weeds and how like the river's polluted.
Yeah, because Dogman had taught little PD that the world's all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's all mud holes and
Mud holes and pollution.
Yep. And then you find out about Petey's newest scheme, the Squirrel Shooter 2000. Also, I wanted to comment that Dogman has a tire swing. I don't know why I felt the need to write that down, but I did.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, he got a tire swing out front. You know, that's cool.
I had an uncle that had a tire swing.
Word? We had a tire swing when I was a kid.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then Petey and Lil Petey are back at the secret lab or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, this is my bedroom and this is your bedroom. And it's literally just the storage closet.
Yeah.
And he gives him a mop bucket to sleep in. And Petey's like,
I'm sleeping with you.
Lil Petey says,
I'm gonna sleep with you.
I'm sleeping with you.
He's like, no, you're not.
And he's like, I gotta make you mean, like how my dad left me and made me mean.
And little Pete's like, well, that's sad. Well, we should find him.
And he's like, how come I made you but you don't act like me? And he's like, well, maybe I'm the part of you you don't like. And they're talking about how the world is horrible. It's full of horror and misery and selfishness. But then he lets Lil Petey sleep with him.
Because there's one last time, because he goes on his whole monologue, and then Lil Petey just responds with, I'm gonna sleep with you.
Yep.
Because he's like, no, you're not. And then it cuts to, and he's sleeping with him.
And it shows Dogman waking up and realizing Lil Petey is gone.
Well, before that, little
Before
Petey
that, yeah.
tells ADHD to
go
find
for-
his grandpa
Yeah,
and
like
bring
what-
him back here.
Like while Petey's sleeping, he wakes up and go does that.
And then it pans to Dogman, realizing that little Petey's missing, and he calls the news reporter.
And then ADHD's left to find him. And then he cries to the news reporter, oh. This is the first time you see the O's.
Oh,
And Sarah's like, what's wrong? And he says, rough.
rough.
And then she gets there and he shows her that Lil Petey's missing because, he's a dog, so he can't talk. And then there's breaking news about Lil Petey. They put it out there to the world. And Dogman takes off. And they all go off, really, in the news van. And the news van says, live news live. And
Yeah, a lot of the tags under the news were fucking hilarious because it changed like every time she
Yeah.
was on screen. It was funny as hell.
And then they go to Yarn Yogurt, and that's not where he is. And he's also not at Mice and Cheesy, and he's also not at the Indifferent shop.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's like close, come back later, or don't.
No, we don't care.
Or don't, we don't care. And then there's a bunch of cat shops. Like they start saying so many of them over and over again that you
Yeah.
can't really keep up.
Yeah.
But no wonder there's a cat jail, Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different places for these fuckers to be fuckers, It's a real problem. The cats. My cats are dicks.
Same. So
Yeah.
am mine, dude.
Mine are pretty bad sometimes. And then they return the clone to Dogman. Wait, what? Return clone to Dogman. Oh, they want the clone. I don't know why I wrote that. Petey's gonna kill Dogman so nobody can have Lil Petey back. Yeah, I don't know. ADHD returns with Grandpa.
Yeah, because he's like you can't return Lil Petey to Dogman if there's no Dogman.
Right, there we thank you, buddy.
But then yes, ADHD does come back with Grandpa Petey, and
and-
he's voiced by Stephen Root.
And he's
Just
immediately mean.
like I instantly clocked it because I was like, I know that voice. Yeah,
He's immediately mean to Petey.
he's a dick, bro. Grandpa Petey's worse, bro. He's a douche.
Yeah, Grandpa Petey is the fucking worst character in this goddamn movie.
Apparently, hurt kitties hurt kitties.
Yeah. That's two children movies that me and you have seen this year where the grandpa's a dick.
Yeah.
Sonic 3.
Yep.
There we go.
In the saggy flesh. Good old Gerald.
And then Lil Petey's like, I just wanted you to have your papa back. And he's like, why did you bring him here? And that's
Yeah.
what he says. And then he's like, he abandoned me. Do you have any idea what that feels like? And Lil Petey says, yes. And I forgive you.
Oh, that's so cute. I love Lil Petey. He's the best.
And then it cuts back to the living spray factory.
Yeah.
And they're like fucking with the dead fish.
Yeah.
And she tries to throw him in the trash and he like fucking knocks that thing out of there.
And it hits a pipe.
And it hits a pipe.
Because you're like, that would never happen. And then they do that, and then the pipe bursts.
and brings Flippy back to life.
I was like, you literally just said it wouldn't happen.
You jinxed yourself.
And then, not only does Flippy come to life, but so does the entire living spray factory.
The whole building.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker says, Gooba Gaba.
Also, it's fun. I think it's funny. Ricky Gervais is Flippy.
And then they get out of there, and he's like, "Are you with me, building?" And then the building
Gooba Gaba.
says Gooba Gaba and puts on
Puts on these boots from this building.
Yeah, there's like a boot shop right in front of the
With
living
like giant
spray
boots on the
factory.
roof, and he climbs into the boots.
And then it cuts back to
Petey's.
the Peeties.
The Pete, I like that. The
Pete's.
Pete's, the Pete and Pete's.
And he's on his squirrel shooter.
Squirrel Shooter 2000.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where you going?" And he's like, "To get milk."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Probably not coming back now.
okay. And then
That's what they all say.
Grandpa's mean to Petey again, tells him like how much he sucks or whatever. And then little Petey defends Big Petey. So there's 3 Peteys in this movie. There's Grandpa Petey, Little Petey, and Big Petey.
Regular Petey.
It gets fucking confusing.
I only just referred to Grandpa as Grandpa.
Me too, but he's also Grandpa Petey. We all know this. They didn't have to say it, right? Looks the fucking same.
They all have the exact same design, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're all orange with black stripes.
Yeah. One just looks old, and one looks cute, short with a big head.
Yeah, one looks super old, one just looks aged, and the other one, is cute and adorable.
And love isn't something you feel, Grandpa. It's something you do. That's what little Petey says.
Yeah, it was adorable.
And then Petey leaves and goes out on the Squirrelotron to like do his diabolical shit.
Squirrelatron.
Yeah, whatever, man. The Squirrel Shooter 2000. It's just a fucking tank that shoots.
That shoots like
Missiles.
that
look
are
like
look like
squirrels.
squirrels. Yeah.
And then it shows that Dogman is still out looking for little Petey.
Yeah, and then we get to the final showdown because Petey pulls up with the tank. He's like, "What's up? We gonna do this?"
Well, I know this isn't very important, but he breathes into the glass and makes a little teardrop.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought it was funny, and then he lays down, and then Sarah Hadoff tells him about the gerbil she had when she was a kid and how it dies. And then Petey shows up. And
Because her little monologue's pretty good too. Like, we always gotta keep going.
we always got to keep
I thought that
going.
was nice.
I miss him and his little teeth or whatever. And then he starts shooting the squirrel shooter at...
and like it misses and it blows something
Yeah, and I
up.
was like, dude, these motherfuckers just shooting fucking
Missiles at him.
missiles. Yeah, because like that was the first time we found out they blow up.
Well, it also like fucks with the mayor, remember, because she's getting her nails
Oh
done.
yeah, then I was like, ah!
Yeah, and then Sarah Hadoff says, "Mechanical exploding squirrels. How evil can one cat be? Pretty evil." And then it cuts to Flippy and the Gooba Gaba.
Gooba Gaba.
Kuba Kaba.
But it's just like a bunch of random shit because they're also like fighting at the same time.
Yeah.
Dogman and Petey, because they go back up that same bridge, but now there's explosives up there too.
Yeah.
And he's in a cop car, I think. Is he in a car? He's in something. Because remember, he lands on the gyro, and they're like, "No, it's a cheesesteak." I think he's in a car.
Or no, he might be attached to the tank.
Oh yeah, he is. You're right, because that's how he arrests Petey again.
Yeah.
Because they're together.
Yeah, they're on top of the Euro together.
Yeah, but it's a cheesesteak.
Oh, it's cheesesteak,
not
my
a
bad.
gyro.
Yeah, they say that
Yeah.
multiple times.
And
Is it Gyro, Hero, or Giro?
I thought it was gyro, but I think it's like
It's like Euro.
Euro. Yeah, because
Oh,
it's
okay.
Greek. I think it's Greek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
I've never had one.
They're pretty good.
I'm sure they're fine.
Oh,
they
yeah.
look like sandwiches.
They're pretty
to me.
tasty.
But anyways, they're on the top of the Euro, and he's like, "Oh, what do you?" And then like, because little PD ends up showing up with ADHD because he wants to make sure there's help.
And he starts calling Petey Papa.
Yeah,
And it's a pretty funny gag because Dogman never fucking realized that Lil Petey
Yeah.
was Petey's son.
Yeah.
Well, clone, but
Clone,
son.
but
Yeah. And they're all like, "How'd you not piece that one together?"
and then he's
Yeah.
like, "What are you gonna do? Arrest me in front of my kid?"
Yes.
And then it's funny because Sarah Hadoff is like, "Oh my god, the coincidence that's so obvious is not really a coincidence." And they're talking about how he's going to end up going back to jail. Petey is.
Yep.
And it shows Big Jim in the prison watching this, and he says he
TV,
misses
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll come back. I miss you." And then that's when Flippy shows up with
Yep.
the building,
Gooba Gaba.
Gooba Gaba.
And,
and he's there. He's there to punish the do-gooders.
and he's going to attack Dogman, but then he sees Lil Petey, and he realizes that Lil Petey
He's a
is the
super do-gooder
is a super do-gooder, so he's going to attack Petey. And he takes Petey,
with
and
his little purple ray.
yep, and then Petey, like, I think Dogman, like, starts to fall or something. something. Like he starts to fall off because they're still on this rocket on top of this cheesecake.
Yeah, like he starts to fall off the squirrel shooter.
Yeah.
And then Petey grabs his hand to help him up, and he's like, "Bro, we gotta team up if we want to save little Petey."
Yep.
He's like, "You can arrest me later, I promise.
And
But
then
right now, we gotta save little Petey."
They go to shake hands, but psych, because Dogman licks his hand, and then they do that weird little all-for-one montage thing.
Yeah, all for one.
And he's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck just
He's
happened?
like, what was it? It was like a little, almost like non sequitur, but also like the opening to a different movie where it's like, for all for one. And
then they
what just happened?
Because they also like transport, and they're like right there where Flippy is.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, so what are we gonna do about all this? And he starts barking at the mailman.
He's like, oh, well, he's like, oh, good idea. You're gonna bark at the mailman.
He's like, how is that helpful? And then he's like, oh wait, I have an idea. And then they go back to Petey's lab, and they have a quick montage so fast that they can't show what it is in the end. That's literally what they say. And then it cuts back to Flippy with Lil Petey, and he says that I'm gonna keep you as bait until the clock runs out. And he's like, well, what happens when the clock runs out? And he's like, I have no idea. I just thought that this needed a clock. And he throws the clock away, and then they reveal the Mecha Mailman 2000 because that's what they went and built.
Right.
Big ass mailman.
And then they have building versus mailman fight.
Which
and
is pretty cool.
It
Yeah.
was pretty cool. There's a little kid in 3D glasses eating popcorn watching it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then I kind of think it's whack that the mailman shoots mail. Like I get it, but at the same time, like what is that supposed to do
Right.
to a building?
Paper cut.
To a building?
And then it cuts back to Millie and the chief. Well, the chief's on the phone with Millie in his office. And he's like, oh, something crazy's happening, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, well, if you need extra toilet paper, it's in the closet.
Yeah.
And he's like,
back in a minute.
all right, well, that's good to know, but that's not what I'm worried about right now. And then it shows the building and the mailman, they start having a wrestling match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He tried to swing a chair at it, misses.
It's Dogman with the steel chair!
Yeah.
He goes for the suplex.
Yeah.
Well,
And
he
then
runs him into
Flippy's like, not the suplex!
He runs him into the clothesline. The
Oh,
clothesline
yeah,
with
yeah,
like
that's
ring
cool.
ropes.
And then he grabs the steel chair.
And then he catches him with the suplex.
Flippy's like, no, not the suplex.
And when he suplexes the building, it knocks out the building, but it starts shooting living spray everywhere.
So now there's even more buildings alive.
I wrote shooting living spray everywhere. Is that going to come back? And then they break LP loose, and then I immediately wrote, oh shit, it came back. More evil buildings.
It's like the gym is all muscular. It's got a big barbell for a weapon. There's the laser pointer building who just does a cool little dance party with
yeah,
the
he's
laser
like the
pointers.
rave building.
Yeah, it was funny. So he
And then
didn't really
there's
do anything. He's just funny to.
There's the indifferent shop. It gets up.
And just walks away. He's like, eh, man.
He says Gooba got, and he just walks away.
I thought it was funny.
And then there's like one that's shaped like a dinosaur. Like the buildings were really cool looking. There's one that's just like an eyeball. I can't remember which shop it was.
Yeah.
But it turns around it's just an eyeball.
There's like a red little ball on some like metal things.
Yeah. And then the chief shows up, and this motherfucker also can't drive. He crashes his fucking car.
Yeah.
I don't understand that gag at all.
Yeah, he also confesses his love to the reporter, and then she kind of also confesses the love for him as well.
Yeah.
Except they both love with each other. Like at first, it's like, oh, I love you, I love you. Like, no, you don't.
I love you!
I love you! I love you!
The last person I want to kill.
And then the Mecha Mailman just starts beating up all the buildings, and he gets his arm like knocked off, but he starts using his arm as a weapon. But then he drops his pants, and you see his Mecha Mailman butt,
Like a mailman booty.
and he falls over. But then ADHD shows up with LP, and they're coming to help. But the PD and the Dogman are already going down, and they're like both in like I guess what would be the cockpit of the Mecha Mailman 2000. And PD's like, hey, we've only been partners for 6 minutes, but I respect you.
But I respect you.
But then he tells him that he's still evil. And then they start licking each other. Or no, wait, what?
Hold up.
Dogman licks Petey, and he says, "Not my mouth," which is funny because that's what the chief also said.
Yeah.
So Dogman got a weird mouth thing going on.
Yeah, but then it looks like they're about to get the shit kicked out of him, and the chief was like, "Oh well, it couldn't get any worse." And then Millie calls and like, "Oh, we are out of toilet paper." And they're like, "No!"
Yeah, and it says things got worse. And then they kind of get like moved around in the mailman head because also like during that is whenever like the chief and the reporter and the cameraman all get in the cockpit thing
Right, to help
with them. So they're all trapped in the Mecha Mailman
Yeah,
2000.
and then the building's like beating the shit out of them while they're in there, and they start escaping through the butt crack.
Yeah, through its ass. Yeah.
Because they try to get out
Poops out,
and
poops out all the characters.
and then they go through the mailman's asshole. And then this is whenever Lil Petey and ADHD show up,
Roll up and flying through the air.
and he says, "Does he say yippee ki Flippy Flopper?
Yeah.
Flippy Flipper."
Yeah, he does.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
A little Die Hard reference. He's like, Flippy Kaye, Flippy Flipper.
Yeah.
It was cute.
And then ADHD goes through all the buildings, starts fucking them up, and then this is where they call him RoboCat.
He goes like through. He goes through like 3 buildings at once.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
They call him RoboCat, and then
RoboCat.
Dogman licks LP awake. Oh, because I guess he gets like knocked down or something.
Yeah, because remember they go to like pick him up because Flippy's like, oh no, and then they go to make sure he's okay.
Right. He licks him up, and then the Flippy's like coming.
He's like, where are you? He's what? Nosferatu?
He's doing what now?
Flippy is Nosferatu,
He's coming?
Flippy Ratu?
and he is coming. What does fish cum look like?
I think, well...
Google it.
No, I don't
I don't want to.
I think we're good.
I think the female fish just lay the eggs, and then the male fish just swims over and just busts a big old nut.
all
Word.
over it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do they like bust on command?
they'd have to unless he's getting bricked up.
Dude,
just
I ain't.
watching. I don't know.
Oh yeah, lay those eggs, girl.
You know. Anyway,
But yeah, so they get Lil Petey out of ADHD, and then they're gonna be like, well, where do we? There's no way we can get away from him. And then that's when Petey says, "You guys go. I'll distract him with ADHD."
yeah, he's gonna become RoboCat.
Yep.
And he's like, he tells Lil Petey whenever they're leaving, he's like, "Hey, if anything happens to me, I need you to try to be evil and do the wrong thing for me."
Do the wrong thing for me.
And it's like, all right.
Funny little subversion there.
And he's like, Flippy won't get me because he's only after do-gooders, and I'm no do-gooder.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe
And I wrote-
maybe the do-gooders were the friends we made along the way.
Maybe. I put me either, buddy.
Same. I was never a do-gooder.
And then Flippy talks shit about how, oh yeah, because he's like, oh, you look a lot uglier up close.
Yeah.
He was like, now you just look like an old man who's sad and might have unresolved daddy issues. And he's like, your daddy didn't love you. It's like, what the fuck?
God,
dude?
what a dick! Flippy's an asshole.
And then he picks him up with like his telekinetic energy, and he's like, how am I gonna kill you? And then he's like, well, I could throw you in the tar pit, but that'll take too long. And he's like, oh, there's the explosive shot, but that's gonna be like, that's like overdone. And then he's like, oh, I'm just gonna throw you into the giant volcano. Because there's a giant volcano right outside of town, apparently.
Yep.
And then it shows Dogman and Petey with the cop and Sarah Hadoff.
Yeah, they get in the squirrel shooting tank.
Well, they start, deciding their plan. The chief brings up a good point. He's like, wait a second. So Petey and Dogman teamed up to save Lil Petey, and now Dogman and Lil Petey are gonna team up to
To
save
save Petey from Mr. Flippy.
And he's like, so who's the hero here? And she goes,
Sarah Hadoff's like, they all are.
they're all the hero.
And then Chief's like, oh yeah.
There goes
My hero, watch him as he goes.
And they see that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
I can be your hero,
Baby.
3 different hero songs.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's what we do around here. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I never made it as a wise man. I don't know. If I
Couldn't
felt
cut
like
it as a poor man stealing.
tired of living like a blind man. You know, one time on Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, I didn't have a microphone stand, so I took it and like wrapped it around my head and like sat it just like this somehow. And I stood there very awkwardly and I played guitar and sang How You Remind Me. And I fucking crushed that shit. Hey, it was like over a 90 on both.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Because I didn't have to read the lyrics, you know? 'cause
Right. I know that song backwards and
Yeah,
forwards.
dude. So I just paid attention.
You know, they got a whole documentary now on Netflix, like about how like just one day they were like became like the hated band.
Really?
Yeah, like how they went from like being like really big to like everyone shitting on them.
I think Papa Neil told me about that.
Yeah.
The first time I ever realized that everyone hated Nickelback was in that movie Fired Up.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard anyone talk about how everyone hates Nickelback. And then I hated Nickelback because they told me to, but now I don't.
Me though, I never hated Nickelback. Yeah, I always liked them. Ever
How
since I
You
was a
Remind
kid.
Me is a great
I stand by
fucking song.
Nickelback.
I always liked the hits.
Yeah.
Are we having fun yet? Yeah. 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 No. Alright, let's get back to this. I ain't fuck.
Dogman shows up with the tank,
Yeah.
and Little Petey and Fish have a nice moment. Do they?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Lil Petey made a flip book for him.
Yeah. He wrote him a little comic.
He made him a little book too, and he's telling him about like how they're gonna go down. They're gonna go to space together, and then they're gonna go underwater together, and then they're gonna eat 5 soups.
That was so cute. He's saying that we ate 5 soups.
Yeah, the 5 soup sounds like some shit my wife would do.
Who can eat 5 soups?
And then he's talking about how no one's ever liked him, and whenever the
back
fish,
back in the school of fish,
they called him Fatty Fish
fatty
Face
fish face.
or Flippy. Flippy needs a friend,
Yep.
and I just put, damn it, LP is too sweet. And then Flippy loses his powers after LP gives him a hug, and he's not fucking evil anymore.
Yeah, but that's bad because Petey's still above the volcano.
Petey starts to fall out of the sky, and Dogman shoots his ball at Petey, and the ball goes in the volcano, and Petey and ADHD are safe.
And it was kind of sad because it was his tennis ball from his old life.
Yeah.
But he was like I have to sacrifice this for my new friends, and I thought it was really sweet.
Because my old life is dead.
Yeah, because that bitch Alice.
I am Dogman now.
Fuck
I
yeah,
don't know, man.
Dog Man.
I felt it. I got a dog in me. You know?
Yeah, dude, I knew it. I've been knowing that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so
So then they save him, and then he rolls down. He rolls down with ADHD in the tank. And Lil Peach's like, "Good job, ADHD," and he just gives him a thumbs up.
yeah. And then the Chief and Sarah Hadoff and Sheamus show
Because
up.
the Chief rolls up doing some Dogman level moves with the flips and the jumps and the kicks.
He's also being the siren for the news van.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes to arrest the fish, but the handcuffs just fall
They
off.
fall off the fish. That was funny.
Also, whenever he does his moves, bro, it shows that the Chief kind of thick. He got a dump truck on.
He had a dump truck on that one move. I was like, "Dang, he got a
Yeah.
dumpy."
And Sarah was about that shit.
Sarah was like, "Whoa."
The mailman did not have a dumpy.
No.
No, he did not. But that's okay.
I don't either.
Me
so.
neither.
But then he gets he ends up getting his name in the paper, and then he also makes his dead mom proud.
Because he arrests Flippy again.
Yeah, because he gives him a little wink. Because he's like, you're under arrest for it. Flippy's like, you don't have to read it, I know.
And then the mayor shows up and says that Petey is pardoned for being a do-gooder.
Yeah.
Yep. I just want to point out, there were multiple times when I was like, did they say serialously?
They do say
And then
serialously.
when they did it again, I'm like, oh no, they literally said serialously
Yeah, they sure do.
instead of seriously. And I don't know what that's supposed to.
Are you guys being serial?
And
Super
Petey's
serial.
like, I ain't no do-gooder. I'm mean and selfish, and I want everything for myself, including Lil Petey.
Yeah, and he takes little Petey and they go home.
Yeah.
But also, but then the mayor, not the mayor, whoever the hiring mayor was like, they made Petey a do-gooder, like, cause he's like, I'm not a do-gooder. And they're like, oh, actually you are.
Yeah.
You're a do-gooder now.
Because they pardoned him. Like,
Yeah.
And then they say goodbye and they leave. And then the Chief's like, all right, let's all go back to the station and ignore that half of the city has been destroyed.
And then they get pans back and it's like fucked up.
Yeah, and then Petey and Lil Petey get back to the secret lab, and you find out that Grandpa has left.
Because they took
all
everything
the
with the
stuff.
And he
fucking
took
truck.
everything with him.
Yeah, except Lil Petey's comic books. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, he didn't want my comic books.
And Petey says, hey man, some people just don't change.
Yeah.
But then the undo button shows up
And he says, I'll never, and throws it away.
and throws it away.
And then because he literally Petey said that, but he said Petey changed though. Some people don't change, but some people can.
And then he's like, all right, let's get out of here. There's no reason for us to stay.
Yeah,
And then they start walking towards Dogman's house. But Lil Petey is starting to turn bad. He's like, you're right. This world is nothing but mud puddles, pollution, and weeds. And even the weeds are dying. But then they look up at the pretty stars. Petey's like, look at the stars. And he says, you know, this world has a lot of problems, but it can never be a horrible place because you're in it. And then Lil Petey says,
You know who else is in it?
so is Dogman.
Aw, so sweet.
And then Dogman cut back to the doghouse.
Yep.
Dogman playing piano.
Playing piano all alone and sad.
And then there's a knock on the door, and it's Petey.
Yep.
And he says, hey, you know, like, maybe Lil Petey can stay here with you sometimes.
He's like, I know we're arch rivals, but you know, maybe Lil Petey can stay with you sometimes.
And
then-
they got him a new tennis ball.
Yep.
And it says Dogman on it.
Instead of Greg. Yeah.
And then he licks him, and he's like, come on, let's have fun.
And John Mayer plays.
Yep.
And homie's like, I'm going to go back and start over. Petey says that.
Yeah.
So he starts to leave, but then, like, while he's doing that, he's starting to realize how beautiful the world is. So he plucks the weeds out that are dying.
Yeah, puts him in a vase.
And he takes the, he takes the
He
bottle out
takes
of
the
the
pollution
river.
bottle, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna make the world a better place.
Yep, exactly. And then everybody
and then
starts howling.
Starts howling. Ow!
And then Petey comes back to the crib and starts howling with them.
Yep.
Yeah. And the chief says, everyone look out. there's still one more building on the loose, and then it's the party building.
Yeah,
the party
it's the
building.
laser pointer building. It's like woo woo woo.
And it says Gooba Gaba.
Gooba Gaba.
And then the end title card.
Yep.
Got a card. And then a Young Gravy song plays.
And then a young
Young
Gravy song
Gravy
plays.
was a voice in this.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the other convict cat.
Yeah, because it says Mr. Whiskers.
Yeah, Mr. Whiskers.
Oh, so he was the one that said respect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Respect.
Good old Mr. Gravy.
Yeah, Mr. Gravy.
But that's the end of the movie.
What a movie.
It was
What
something.
an animated feature.
Animated feature. Animated presentation.
It was a movie.
Who wants to go first?
I will give it a 6.5. Not gonna go any higher because it's not like my kind of movie by any means. So, but I liked it. I just don't think I'd ever I'm never gonna I'm not gonna watch this movie again.
Yeah,
Probably.
the chances of me watching it again are pretty slim.
Are pretty slim, but I enjoyed it. I had fun.
I enjoyed it. I had fun. I liked it because we watched Garfield last year too.
Yeah.
And we did a double feature that day.
We sure did.
Yeah, we did.
I can't give it a 6 because I gave Garfield a 6 and I like this more than Garfield. And I'm never going to rewatch Garfield. I'm never going to rewatch this movie. So I agree with him. I'm going to go with a 6.5.
Honestly, I was going to say 7 at first, but I think you guys are kind of right because it's not really made for me, but it's still
not
fun.
made for me, but I enjoyed it.
And I feel like I would give a different movie higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think 6.5 is not bad.
Yeah, man. I feel like don't get me wrong. 6.5 is definitely becoming like a cop out around here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like goddamn, I just can't.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad enough to be a 5.
No, because it wasn't bad.
But it was still fun too.
Yeah,
I had a fun time watching it.
And
It got a lot of laughs out of me.
yeah.
way more than I thought it would.
Yeah.
and they were like genuine laughs too.
Yeah.
Not like just little chuckles.
There was like some of the montages and stuff where like the jokes were coming back to back. I was dying.
Yeah, I laughed heartily.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, anybody got anything else to add?
No,
Nah,
I
man.
think we juiced the dog, man.
All right. Well, that's been another Movie Juiced. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. You can follow us on Facebook at Movie Juice, Instagram and Twitter at Movie Juice Pod. We got a coming soon website at www.moviejuicepod.com. If you have any suggestions for a logo, please send them in. If we like it and decide to use it, we'll give you some money so we can negotiate that. You can email us at moviejuicepod@gmail.com. If you have any thoughts on movies we've already reviewed, you can put them in the comment or you can email us. Or you can also email us your recommendations for other movies. Or you can also review us on anywhere, I think. You can also send us your review and we'll read it on the pod. Once again, the email is moviejuicepod@gmail.com. Write in. We'd love to hear from you. All links can be found on our link tree. We are on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. You can follow us all individually on Instagram and Twitter. Our handles are in the description below. We'll be back next week with the 2009 hit movie The Proposal, starring Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, for Valentine's Day.
Ayo.
So go ahead and get your lovers ready and go ahead and pre-download the episode. You can't do that, but you can download it when it comes out. You can steal your lover's phone and download the episode on their phone as well. As always, I've been Dylan.
I've been Kyle.
And I've been James. And for one last time, this has been The Juice.